So, hey, Rocket Nation, and everyone else who may be following us. For those of you who do not know, my name is AJ Garcia. I'm the assistant athletic trainer here at the University of Toledo Sports Medicine. As a lot of you guys have probably seen, we are looking for ways to assist you all as the world is trying to sift through the COVID-19 pandemic. And we figured where else better to start than inside the kitchen. And so, joining us today is Liz. Liz, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Yep. Hi, I'm Liz Satterthwaite, registered dietitian. I am the dietitian for all of the sports teams in the athletic department. Um, I graduated from Ohio State University, got my internship at Priority Nutritional Care distance internship, and I'm an ex-gymnast and do a lot of weightlifting now, trying to stay healthy. But this is definitely one of my passion areas, and I'm happy to be here today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being with us. So if we could start with what a lot of people are trying to do is bulking up on food. And so I was wondering what your best suggestions are in terms of how to bulk on food and where people should be looking at inside the grocery store.
Like what they should. So there's a lot of non-perishable items if people are trying to decrease the frequency that they're going to the grocery store. Um, I think when my thought process for nutrition when I'm going grocery shopping, the first thing that I prioritize is thinking about protein sources. So of course, now that the rush is over, there are more foods available to buy at the grocery store. So if you want to buy fresh that, or if there's frozen meat you want to buy, that's going to be first on the list. Um, Tuna packets, canned tuna and salmon and things like that are going to hold longer. So if you have to skip a week that you're going, you can pull those kinds of things out. Bean pastas are going to be non-perishable, or whole grain pasta is still going to be higher in protein. Some things that you can have. Um, and canned beans as well. Frozen beans are all good sources of protein. Powders, non-perishable protein shakes, things like that to really be the foundation of your meals and your snacks throughout the week. So thinking about that first and building off that. The next thing you kind of want to bulk up on is fruits and vegetables to add to the staples to your diet. So there are some fresh fruits and vegetables still that you can get at the store, week to week. But again, if you're trying to decrease the amount of times that you're going to the store, um, try to go for the more green frozen foods. So broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus. I know there's a lot of like corn and peas mixtures that people normally get for frozen meals, but trying to go for the more green stuff is going to give you more bang for your buck, even though it's not as delicious as fresh cooked. It's definitely going to help. And spinach, definitely you can get frozen as well. Some canned things like artichokes, beets, things, and tomatoes are canned items you can get. Of course, frozen fruit as well. All like berries are going to be the best bang for your buck there. And then definitely some canned fruit too, as long as it's canned like in water or its own juice, not like the added sugars. Then you can kind of think about sprinkling in all the things that you like and enjoy. But I think focusing on the protein and the fruits and vegetables is like the bulk of your meals and whole grains, and then sprinkling in what else you actually enjoy throughout the week.
Now, do you find there to be a nutritional difference in canned and frozen fruits and vegetables as opposed to the fresh ones that we usually are trying to buy?
A little bit. So with frozen, no. Sometimes frozen may even be better than raw vegetables because it's flash frozen. Whereas, there's some travel time and things are sitting on the shelves and actually losing nutrients a day for the raw fruits and vegetables. So frozen is great as far as nutrition content. It's just the taste that's not as good. With canned, there's a little bit less nutrition there. So that's why I'm saying going for more of the green fruits and vegetables and berries because they have the most nutrition value, whereas things like corn or just tomatoes or carrots and things have a little bit less nutrition than the other more colorful fruits and vegetables.
So, with it being springtime and a lot of new fruits and vegetables coming into season, people may be looking to still buy fresh. Do you have recommendations on what may be the best fruits and vegetables to buy in terms of shelf life?
There's not too many that have like the better shelf life. Obviously, like the grab and go fruits and vegetables, like bananas, apples, oranges, tend to last longer than something like berries or grapes. But you can buy bananas, freeze those, right, and use them in smoothies. So there's in grapes you can freeze sometimes too, and I know people like to eat them like that as like a treat. So consider that as well when you're buying. Normally, things that are in season are up front and center when you're shopping, and they're normally on sale too. So getting things in that sense would be best, and having a plan for your fruits and vegetables too, so that they're not going bad. If you don't have a plan of like, I probably eat one apple a day, but if you're buying two apples, for a day for the week, and then they're going to go bad. So trying not to overbuy the produce as well is going to help that.
And then when people do decide to buy fresh, do you have any recommendations on how they should be trying to handle that food?
You would store it kind of how you see them in the grocery stores. So things like, berries and grapes and things like that are going to be in the fridge. I know there's some fridges have like fruit and vegetable drawers, so you want to store them that way. My one suggestion, I think, of something that goes bad often is avocados for people. And those, once you cut them up or once they feel like they're ready, I would put them in the fridge and they'll last a couple more days. So that's definitely one trick and tip for a produce item that I think people don't know as much. Um, Other than that, keeping them fresh longer is kind of hard. Like I said, you can freeze them before they go bad if it's something like that. Or when you see fresh vegetables start to go bad, you could maybe make like I call it like a kitchen sink omelet or quiche. So you can kind of use those in a soup or stew or some sort of omelet or quiche to make the most of them too. It's kind of hard to prevent them from going bad, but buying things a little bit more ripe too when you are in the store.
So to shift gears just a little bit, obviously a lot of us have become a lot more inactive compared to what we would like to be. And so recommendations in how we should be changing our portions or how we are intaking our food and calories during all this.
Yeah, so this is a trick question right now. I feel like because this is such an like uncharted territory right now, and there's a lot of stress and like an emotional just situation in general. So I think it's hard to think about like managing your weight rate. But so I think the best focus is to shift to self care. So it's like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be stressing about calories so much right now because this is just tough to be home all day and try to think about portions when you have full access to a kitchen next to you. It's not the perfect environment at all to stay busy and manage that. But I think listening to your body too better, which just sounds a little cliche, but when you are less active, your appetite is less. So maybe some people do notice their appetite's just hungry at different times of the day, or they can definitely tell when they're just eating and they're not really hungry more often. Just like when you start to exercise more frequently, maybe when athletes are in season, they notice that their appetite's a little bit more and they're hungrier. So your body's really good at letting you know that. It's just harder to notice when you're less hungry and eat less than it is to start to eat more. So, and I know a lot of athletes, they're skipping meals during the day when they're busy on campus and skipping breakfast, going straight to practice. And now we have time to make breakfast and things like that. So the best thing you can do is try to pay attention to your hunger cues to let your body know. And if you're eating those higher quality staple foods, your hunger cues are going to be more accurate too, right? You're not going to, but you're taking a lot of calories from two Pop Tarts. So trying to get some protein and fruits and vegetables throughout your day is going to help you curb the cravings and extra hunger and the boredom eating. So yes, I would consider though making portions a little bit smaller or trying not to snack and eat 6 times a day, but maybe having, 2 to 4 big meals and snacks throughout the day when normally some of the students might be having 5 or 6.
Something that I've seen, and you kind of touched on it with, I guess, sort of routine, is that people are trying to find that sense of routine in their day since everything's kind of been thrown topsy-turvy. How do you implement food into your routine daily? Do you have any suggestions on a specific routine we should follow, or is there just generic ideas that we should be doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think that's very individual, but I can give you a suggestion on how to make that work for you or the next person because everyone's hunger cues are different. Some people wake up hungry, some people are hungrier at night. People may still be trying to be active and want to fuel that workout. Some people are a lot more sedentary with no routine. I really try to pay attention to um, when your hunger, wavers throughout the day and try to eat and snack in those moments. So if you know you wake up and first thing in the morning and you're not hungry till 10 or noon, that's okay. So there's not a perfect schedule of eating 2 times a day or 5 times a day or having meals um, a number amount of times a day or a certain time. I would just pay attention to your hunger cues. So for example, I'm a lot less active than I normally am right now. I'm not hungry till 10 or 11, so I don't eat breakfast till then. I've noticed that I'm just not hungry and I'm trying to pay attention to that. So I'll try to keep myself busy with, even if it's scheduling self care, like journaling or one task you want to do, or cleaning or calling a friend. And then when you start to feel yourself maybe start to get hungry again, you have a second or a third meal. So I've been eating 2 or 3 times a day, where normally 4 times a day because I'm just starting to eat later and having bigger meals at one time when I know I like to eat, which is when I'm maybe more bored at night. So I save more of my calories and bigger meals for that time of day. So that works for me, but that might look different for somebody else. So I would say try to pay attention to your hunger cues and schedule your meals around when you notice that you're more hungry, you're more likely to eat a little bit heavier, and don't stress so much about how many times a day that is or snacking too much. Um, just if you're eating higher quality food, you're doing the best that you can right now.
And I guess going on to that snacking too much, just because it feels like it's unavoidable when you're trying to binge Tiger King, for example. What
Yeah.
do you recommend as some snacks that are okay to snack on while we're binging those shows?
Yeah, snacking while you're watching TV. I don't suggest it. First off, I would try to, especially right now, practice more mindful eating. So really being in tune to, chewing your food, acknowledging the taste and the smell of your food, trying not to be distracted while you're eating. If you know you're going to want to snack while you're eating anyways, or snack while you're watching TV anyhow, um, things like, of course, like fruits and vegetables that you can snack on, like an apple and peanut butter, or um, hummus and some sort of carrots can be like a healthier snack. But if that's just not doing it for you, popcorn is always a good one, lower fat popcorn, because it takes a while to get through it, but it is a whole grain and it does have fiber in it and some protein, and it kind of hits the spot for that kind of snacking that people want to do. So I would say that. Or snacking on whatever you actually want, but actually just portioning it out onto a plate or a bowl. So you're not eating straight out of a bag, or you keep going back to the kitchen and grabbing more. So just portioning out whatever you do want to snack on is a really good plan too.
Shifting gears once more, a lot of us are trying to find ways to boost our immune system during all this. The
Yeah.
last thing we want to get is any kind of illness. So, what are some recommendations in foods that we should be trying to get so that we can boost our immune system better in case we do get sick?
We can only do so much right now, but the best things you can do is 100% just getting higher quality foods. So, like I said, the protein, fruits, and vegetables to get the micronutrients to help your body function optimally and recover and get the micronutrients like, and vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin B, C, magnesium, potassium, all those things. But some pinpointed foods like probiotics are going to be good for the gut, good for the immune system. So yogurt, uh, things that people probably don't really eat, like kimchi and kefir, and fermented foods like sauerkraut or dill pickles. Things like that are good for the gut. I had, what was the other one? Tempeh is like a um, fermented soy protein, like a vegetable protein. Miso soup. Yogurt is probably the most common one that people are doing. Maybe the kombucha teas that people get too. You can try here and there. And keeping a wide variety of food is going to be good for your gut too, right? So, like eating the rainbow when you do eat is going to help your immune system. Vitamin C, of course. So getting citrus foods, oranges, and things like bell peppers, right? So a lot more colorful vegetables. You can get those frozen. You can get those raw as well right now. And then foods that are high in zinc. So red meat, like pumpkin seeds, and some fortified cereals and pork. So you can kind of look at when you're buying crackers and cereals and things like that, they are fortified with vitamins. So higher vitamin C and zinc are going to be good for that. So a wide variety of foods, but then of course some probiotics and vitamin C and zinc as well are going to be good for the immune system. And sleep and trying to manage your stress and uh, definitely getting some sort of activity when it's not snowing 4 inches outside are going to be really good for your immune system because, stress and the lack of sleep can really wreak havoc on that.
Well, as you mentioned, it is snowing outside here in Toledo. So a lot of us might be looking into supplements. It's kind of hard to get that vitamin D in when you're getting 6 inches of snow. What do you recommend in terms of supplementation from vitamin D or even protein that our athletes might be trying to take in?
General rule of thumb it's going to apply to most people. Definitely vitamin D, especially athletes that are more of the indoor sports. Are going to want to consider a vitamin D supplementation. Again, like, I don't know what's happening this April. We can't go outside. So like 1,500 to 2,000 IUs would be a general place to start. Unless someone's getting tested and they know that they have vitamin D deficiency, then you would want to consult with their provider of like what is a good amount to start with, maybe prescription-based vitamin D. But pretty much it's safe that anyone could do 1,500 to 2,000 IUs a day. I definitely forgot to take it and started taking it again yesterday myself because it's really hard to get vitamin D in your diet. It's in salmon and tuna, mushrooms, oysters, those foods that we're not eating very often. Some fortified foods and a little bit in milk, things like that. So that's why it's so important. And it's really important for the immune system too, I guess I should mention. So definitely want to get it. We can't get it from the sun right now. So that is a good place to start. Fish oil, is already taking it, make sure to continue taking it. Or if you're someone who doesn't eat fish or tuna or anything, halibut, I would consider a fish oil supplement. That doesn't hurt. Protein, only if someone feels like they need extra protein supplementation. I think it's really important on protein right now, all the time, really. But right now, when we're so sedentary, to maintain the lean body mass that we do have, we don't want this like packaged frozen food of like lean pockets and Pop Tarts and chips and pretzels all day and not really have much protein. And athletes might be at risk of losing more muscle mass, if they don't have that. So food first when it comes to protein. But of course, there's room for, any sort of protein shake or protein bar or things like that too are not going to hurt. Creatine, again, too, is like one of the best supplements to help maintain lean body mass for performance. So 3 to 5 grams of creatine supplementation would be something else I would possibly consider too. Anything else, probably not that helpful or would be more of an individual suggestion, but those would be like the staple items.
Perfect. Well, that is it for the questions that I have for you. Is there anything else that you want to hit on?
I hear a lot of people stressing about like gaining weight in the quarantine 15 and just feeling all over the place. So I'd say focus on the big picture of like just make sure you're getting higher quality food and take care of yourself. If that's extra sleep, if that's talking to friends, really your mental health and taking care of that is going to be most important to help your eating habits, in turn. So definitely just focusing on the quality of the food and trying to eat more mindfully are the top 2 things that you can do right now. And, when we're able to get more active and get back into our routine, reevaluate things from there. But right now, just try, we don't need more stress. And you're going to be okay, maybe not in our tip-top shape for a month or 2. So just try to give yourself some grace.
Which is definitely something I think we need to remind ourselves every day during this.
I have to too. I'm talking to myself as well right
now. Well, thank you, Liz, for joining us today, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you guys want any further tips and tricks from Liz, please go to Twitter and check out our sports nutrition account at UT_nutrition. And if you guys want to find any more content from us at Sports Medicine, make sure you follow us at UT_sports medicine. Thank you again, Liz. Stay healthy, and as always, go Rockets.
Thank you, AJ.